back. Complainer of the cosmos. But I am back to complain about Sea of Thieves and its various flaws. And the Rare's various flaws as well, as...
He's lying! That's what he does!
And yes, I will be playing D2 as well.
Clovis is the only one who knows how to reintegrate Rasputin with his subminds.
Did he tell you how? Or is he just dangling it in front of you so that you keep him around?
I remember a dinner that ended like this. Elizabeth, you haven't changed a day.
Are you sure he has what you need?
I haven't verified. But
he's the only hope left.
But so they released a quote-unquote update
Go to
video
hell. I'm here.
about some of the changes that they were going to be putting in. Some of them needed, sure. And most of them were pretty much band-aid fixes. One of them was heavily needed because the fucking Blunder Bomb was apparently overpowered. I myself didn't notice it, but I haven't exactly been playing the game much since that launch, so... But
I have found a solution to our sub-mind problem. Your arrogant friend Osiris informed me of the time
fix that I'm on
on
about
Mars.
was the fact that they decided to go ahead and nerf the amount of resource gathering that you need to do. Sure, that's fine. I'm full on for it. But the main reason why they did it is not right. As the reason they did it was not because they needed to or anything. It was simply because... the fuck is this polling location? It was simply because of the fact that simply because of the fact that when you get sunk in the new PvP mode, you have to do all that fucking shit all over, and that would obviously become very boring. The thing is, that's how the PvP is based. If you can't complete it, then if you're not good enough to fight or have a chance of winning, you're doomed to be sitting there restocking your ship repeatedly. And adding more to the ship or making it so that you spawn on an outpost, period, doesn't help. It doesn't actually help the issue. Nor does adding it so that the shit comes out of your ship, whatever you had. I didn't mean to do that, but that was it. PvP shouldn't have a focused mode. You had Arena, and it clearly didn't work well. As soon as people got rewards, they fucked off. That's what people will and are doing with this new mode. The PvP is so bad that people would rather cheese it and make it so that people invading others physically can't fight because of them spawning in the Red Sea and then immediately sinking. People would rather do that than actually fight. This should tell you that the PvP is not fun, especially for the people at the bottom of the ladder, or closer to the bottom of the ladder. And those people aren't the loudest voices. Because usually
Elsie, good to have
they
you with us. Give us
easily
the
get
rundown.
pushed aside.
Likewise. Mara tells us the Witness's soldiers focus on Mars and threaten the submarine
And
Charlemagne.
when it comes to Sea
So
of
we
Thieves,
kill them and take Charlemagne. Is it any more complicated than
it
that?
becomes
Why are you here?
quite a big
To
problem.
oversee my project. Our
Because not only are
project.
they quiet
Then
voices,
fall in line.
but quiet voices tend
Anna,
to only be loud
it's your
when there's a
command.
lot of them.
By all means.
But the problem with the Sea of Thieves community is if they go to complain, they get chased off by the community. They get chased off because they're
You're in
so
the thick,
fucking
Guardian.
toxic.
Live,
It's not even
taken.
funny.
Pretty sure they know you're coming now. Then there's no time to waste.
Like, there's countless times. Like, if you want to trigger a Sea of Thieves PvP player, just ask for private servers and shit like that.
The Warmind's
Literally all you need
network
to do.
architecture is exquisitely preserved.
It's
I'm
not even
surprised
funny
that's
how
the-
easy it is to trigger them. Like, I'm literally gonna be
Why are those
100% honest
escalation nodes
and say
rising?
that a Karen
Hive
gets less triggered
infestation,
than them,
short-circuiting the campus's systems.
which is fucking hilarious. Because of the fact that they are pretty easy to trigger. But,
Deftones
like,
Target that acolyte, Guardian. Coming in hot.
it's fucking ridiculous, honestly. And like the PvE is fun,
The Hive are sending an ogre.
but the main thing that I would want to know, the PvE server ain't meant to be permanently used. Because, like for example, a new player starts the game, realizes that he can't go for the normal mode because everybody outskills him.
Data link established.
To the point where he
More
can't hit a
numbers.
shot and everybody else hits
Okay,
every shot.
that's part one.
That's how it is right now. Meanwhile, they can then jump into. Let me actually lower the volume on my thing here, so to make sure that everybody can hear me. I should lower it a bit more. Just to make sure that everything is working properly. But so they can then enter that PvE mode, get a lot more familiar with the game. Once they feel a lot more familiar, they can then try their hand at the normal mode. If they feel like they're still a bit too inadequate, they can then go back into that mode, practice a bit more, because like what I'm suggesting as the change is add a friends only thing, and by that I mean a server where you can invite your friends to either be on your ship or on a separate ship in the same server that you host. So no server issues on the only servers is connecting to the actual game itself, which they should not struggle with because that literally every other game does it. But making it so that you yourself can host, and then making it so that your friend can either join your ship or an opposite ship, and then you can either like practice fighting or just do some PvE content if you're up for a calm day. Because the game is heavy relaxing. I fucking love that part of the game. But when you're wanting a relaxing day, just doing some casual grinding, and not wanting your time to be wasted by not putting up an emissary flag and getting literally fuck and all from your 1 hour adventure, and that's a massive waste of time, which is why the emissaries are used to win. You can't avoid them like people say you can. Sure, technically you cannot use them, but getting to a max rank or getting even a fair amount of gold is pointless. Sure, I can get it. Since cosmetics is everything the game fucking has. I can get them wanting to limit the amount you get for the lowest risk possible. But the thing is, if you only had like 4 or 5 sets, I would agree with you. But for any new player today, they have a huge ton of gold they need to earn. Like several 100 million. And that shit is not easy or fast earned. At the least. I was no longer in the laser game, but okay. Cool. Love it. And obviously the highest level player is speedrunning. I fucking quit this game. Why put lasers in a doorway? People can't fucking jump over it. But okay, this dude, man, I fucking hate people speedrunning in this game. Especially in match-made activity. If you're speedrunning in a solo player, sure. In a solo playlist where it's only you, I don't care. I don't care what you do. I'm not picking them up. Honestly. I can't be fucking arsed to deal with people like that. I specifically avoided picking teammates up as well. IMO Bungie kind of needs to implement a bit of punishment for that because it ruins strikes or any. That's a fucking glass wall. But it ruins any match-made activity like strikes, shit like that. Because people just fucking speedrun it. What? He's not even fucking engaging the enemies. Like, look at that shit. Honestly, if you're gonna play like that, don't play this fucking game. Or do that matchmaking glitch so you get stuck alone. Because nobody wants to play with you. But, I can get wanting to lower the amount of gold earned depending on how risk-free it is. But let me ask you this. Does it seem fair to force a new player to not be able to catch up? It's it's a massive problem like fucking gacha games, for example, suffer from. Like, just fucking Genshin itself suffers from that issue. And it's not a fun issue. And sure, they are mostly based on RNG, but the more content that gets added, the more content they have to catch up, the more RNG they have to endure. And it's somewhat similar when it comes to Sea of Thieves. I'm saying that because the chance of you running into another player is the, like, issue. Okay, are you fucking joking, man? I'm just gonna do this for you. Fucking Christ. And that's the high level player as well. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Bro, can you literally calm the fuck down? Like, what the fuck off, man. Seriously.
So this is what the Hive were trying. Details later. Patch me in. I'll start the core transfer and
But,
behind you.
yeah, like, you have several hundred millions of gold that you need to obtain.
This night attacked
it is not fun to have to catch up with that shit. And in like Genshin, you have I don't know how many exactly. How many characters they're up to now, especially 5 stars. But it's a lot. I myself have not even fucking caught up. I've caught up to adventure rank, but nowhere close when it comes to characters. I do not have anyone that is usually renowned as good. But I have a fair share foothold, I guess, in the door. Most of the issue is like time gating, shit like that, because you have to wait for a certain character to come back in rotation and whatever. But at least you don't have to deal with a fucking dice roll whether or not you get to make progress. Because I mean, sure, you get chances at obtaining the character early, but you have a guaranteed chance if you spend enough times. Because it's a gacha game. But, it's a pretty, big number that you have to do. But the thing is, you don't have to worry about anything else. You literally just need to farm up enough. That's it. I got another one? Are you serious? Another glaive? It's fucking hilarious. God of War. But the thing is, like, in Sea of Thieves, in order to catch up, in which is way more of a grind than Genshin, despite Genshin literally being gambling, effectively, and it wanting you to spend your money to obtain shit. Despite that, somehow Sea of Thieves is even more grindier than it. And when you consider that that's quite bad, due to the fact that you have a pretty good story to your game. Like, I love it. I wish you did more Tall Tales and not less. You have kind of just nerfed the content you're putting out. And now you're favoring PvP players just because they are the loudest voices. When they're definitely not the most voices. The thing is, like, when I came into the game, which was like, let me check this here. Let's go down to Sea Thieves. Last played December the 3rd. December the 3rd, but I think I got it. Hold on, let me actually just check this number. I got it before August, so I got it effectively this year. So I'd know a bit more about the new experience than somebody who got the game when it was an alpha or whatever the fuck, but didn't play until Pirate's Life. Sure, that's the first thing I played when I first started playing this game, or that game. But, which is why I fell in love with this, like, story shit. What does it want me to go over here to do? What do you want? What do you want? Okay, cool. So now I'm just going to do this one. Kind of annoying. But the story in the main gameplay is fun. Because the main gameplay is making sure that you're stocked up and have the shit required to do an engagement. And if you prepare properly, most shit isn't going to prepare much of a threat to you. But if you want to challenge yourself, prepare less. Set sail instantly. Throw some of your cannonballs overboard. Waste some. If you want to challenge. And sure, the main fighting when you're on land, especially when running a sword, it's not that entertaining. Then double gun in PvE. Simple. There are ways to challenge yourself. You just have to be creative. Just because the base ain't challenging doesn't mean you can't make it challenging. And you've got to think about that. Because if you don't, you're kind of just fucking yourself over. And if you force implementations around that mistake, you're fucking everyone else over along with you. Some people don't like PvP, but they love the actual gameplay of Sea of Thieves. And since no other game out there produces the same type of gameplay, they don't have anywhere else to go. They don't have a choice but to deal with your fat ass never leaving the fucking couch you're playing on. You've got to remember this. Some players don't have the time 6 hours a day to sit down and play the same game repeatedly, forcing yourself into PvP after PvP, much less have had years of practice or months of practice, straight, just months and months and months of practice, no breaks, nothing. Not everybody can do that. Sure, you may argue that, oh, it's not for you then. What else, what other game like Sea of Thieves is there? Tell me that. I have not found a single game that's exactly like Sea of Thieves, just not PvP. Sure, PvPers might find the main gameplay of the game to be boring. But you've got to remember that you're not new to this game. If you play the same game for 10 years straight, no wonder the main gameplay is going to get boring. And just because the gameplay got boring within 5 minutes or whatever the fuck, within 5 hours at launch, does not mean that it does now. And it does sure as fuck does not mean that everyone feels that way. Actually, most of the time, it's probably mostly the opposite. Actually, it's not most of the time, it is the opposite. Just like how some people, by some miracle, somehow enjoy the Gambit game mode, which is the PvPvE game mode here in Destiny. Despite it being fucking hot ass garbage and most of us agreeing that it is. Some people still enjoy it. Just like how some people enjoy the PvP mode within Warframe, which was highly unbalanced and just genuinely recognized as shit. Some people still played it. Same with the Lunara mode, which is effectively space football. Some people still played it. And if your PvP is actually good, a PvE mode should not threaten your game. It should by no means offer any PvP player to be afraid of that implementation. But guess what? The PvP players in Sea of Thieves very much are. They are so threatened by it that they actually resort to insulting people wanting it. They are hot garbage at it, but they're trying. Now, Rare, unless that's the fucking community that you want to support, the bullying other players until they leave or shut the fuck up, you gotta change this shit. My recommendation would be add a way for PvE players to obtain the PvP levels. It may not be like a lot, but make it so that it's easily stackable with any kind of loot, for example. Make it like Reapers, except it offers like a small amount, not small amount, effectively just defeats, like if you were to lose a fight, that amount of XP. Can this dude literally not speedrun? Like, I get it, these activities are boring, but still, it's fucking annoying.
Patch me in and
You're
I'll get
actually
that door
fucking
open.
annoying. Like, I want to throw this dude into a wall. I'm not gonna let him get heavy. Fuck that. But, like, your community is what's kind of ruining the PvP mode. Back when everybody was at the same skill, it probably was a lot more fun playing. Because it was a lot more fair. Anyone can run into any skill level. And probably still have the equal amount of chance to get out of that encounter as each other. But now it just ain't. And the resource gathering is a big fucking part of it, because if you know that your enemy ship is fresh out of spawn, you can simply buy time to have them waste their cannonballs and shit, and then just fucking drain their resources that way. Just win based on that alone. And plus, those fucking matches take fucking long as shit. And for anybody not running a full fucking crew, they're absolutely fucking shit. Anybody running open crews might as well play a gotcha game. Quite literally. This dude is literally not a team player whatsoever. I honestly wish this shit could be griefing. Yeah, as I said, like, if you're running with in any way, shape, or form, an unsteady crew, like, you're not playing with, like, a group of 4 friends that you know are gonna be playing with you for as long as you're playing, which means that you have hours and hours to dump in with a group with friends who do the same and enjoy the exact same shit that you do, which is fucking rare to come by the way. Unless you have that, good fucking luck trying, because searching for one in an open crew is like searching for a fucking needle in 1,000 billion haystacks. I'm not even fucking joking. And it's honestly really boring when that shit happens.
You know what to do, Guardian.
Like, I've been in so many open crews where what they want to do either don't align up with me, or they just straight up don't play at all. Like, they might as well be AFK for how useful they are. They don't communicate, they don't speak the same language or some shit, and it's just like, This is not helping. I'm trying to use that fucking looking for LFG shit that the Xbox has. This is not helping either. Because you might as well just fucking give up. And just force yourself to sit through 40, 100 open crews. Until you get an open crew that's actually semi-decent. And then hope to God you play with them again. If not, back to the same fucking grind again. And that's the unfun part of not being in a stable crew. And the thing is, most people who have a say in this shit don't suffer this issue. They don't do open crews. And then they go ahead and say, have the balls to say, oh, the fucking sloop is the best ship. No, it kind of ain't. It honestly kind of ain't. It's very easy to sink one. Just outnumber the players on top of it. Problem fucking solved. Like, the fuck do you expect a singular player who's pretty new to the game, or returning from like several months hiatus because the game was unfun at the time due to shit poor implementation of PvP and just genuinely a completely unbalanced game. You're just shooting yourself in the foot by forcing PvP, honestly. It's been a problem in the game. Like, people don't enjoy the PvP, and the only ones who do are the ones who succeed. If you don't, you're just a fucking masochist, and nobody talks to you. Nobody's talking to you. Because we want normal people in this fucking common... in this discussion. Not people who get off on losing. Like, if I'm gonna bring an example of a PvP game where you're bound to lose quite a lot, as an example, I'd bring up Guilty Gear Strive. As it's heavy skill based and it's actually fair, period. You all start off as pretty much the same. Sure, some characters have different attacks, abilities, whatever. But that's to implement skill, effectively. But none of them have upgrades, none of them have jack like that. You don't upgrade mid-match or whatever the fuck to deal more damage to the enemy or whatever. It's purely based on you and that other person's skill. And who can be the best. That's it. Period. But if you go into high level as a new player, you're bound to get your shit kicked in. More often than not. And sometimes it's kind of fun. But being forced into that situation repeatedly with no choice over the matter is when it becomes incredibly unfun. It's like I can literally... Actually, it's not even on this fucking list at the moment. But I can use Trials of Osiris as an example. Because it had no matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking. I don't think it even had matchmaking based on the amount of wins you had. Because it sure as fuck didn't feel like it. Like, on my very first go... On my very first match, I would usually lose. Because the other people are sweating their asses off. Sure, it's trials, it's competitive. Or I should just get matched against like streamers who don't do anything but live and breathe the game's PvP, and it's not fun to do that shit. Streamers usually ruin a game more than they lift it up. Full on depending on how the game is. Like, if it's a PvE game, like Warframe, they kind of just lift it up because they teach you, they provide content, so on.
Gain access to the facility and secure the launch codes.
But
Looks like the Hive has sealed
the
bunker
issue
entrance
is,
last time. Head to the launch facility route.
the issue is when
Exit's up there.
they're not PvE and are effectively in their own sessions, not bothering anyone else. The problem comes when where the fuck is their wall? I'm gonna die. Yep. The problem becomes when you're forced into that situation against them, despite you not playing as much as them. Where the fuck am I? Where am I meant to be going? Where the hell did I spawn? I think I need to go up there. But yeah, like, it's a massive problem. Streamers, you should never, ever cater to them. Damn it. That's how you make a game that is catered against people who do nothing but live and breathe the game. That's how you make the game worse. Oh god. Like, I can funny enough use Destiny as an example again. Instead of challenging themselves, or well, I should probably put an explanation of what I'm about to say for those who don't know what I'm on about. There is a gun in this game. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is that? Where is it? It's in here somewhere. It's gonna be on this first page. Yeah, here it is. This gun is a beam rifle where if you constantly shoot an enemy, you get a big crit ball, and it also debuffs the enemy so that you do more damage against it, which is perfectly fine, right? But people tended to use it a lot in game modes such as raids and shit like that, as you get a massive damage boost, allowing you to kill the boss much faster and much easier. In which, sure, that was perfectly fine, right? All until you consider the fact that people wanted it nerfed because apparently it was too strong. Despite it not actually being that strong, it's just that people are that strong now. Because, hey, guess what? The whole point of the game is to get stronger and make shit easier. But no, since they wanted more wait, what the fuck? This is not the right way anymore. But since people wanted more difficulty, now the less skilled players have more of an issue completing content. They previously could. Where am I going? Like, previously I could probably complete Vault, or what else area actually uses that? Vow. But now, due to that change, I probably are gonna have much more of an issue. Because, hey, guess what? Now there's smaller crit spots. Which, for somebody who don't fucking practice their aim 24/7, are gonna have trouble hitting. Period. And if you don't cater to the slightly lower skilled people, I'm not saying remove difficulty entirely. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is give a bit more leeway so that lower skilled players can accomplish them. like offer a gun that's pretty strong, or offer a pretty strong buff, so on. Because not everybody is going to have the time or energy to deal with mid-maxing their build out to be able to do something easily, or whatever. Not everyone has that ability. Like, I don't have that ability. That's why I'm not that good at, where does it want me to go? That's why I'm not that good at Warframe, because I haven't mid-maxed my shit. But I still find the game fun, because I can accomplish shit. I don't feel utter garbage just because I don't have the perfect build. But it at least offers me the ability to get a good build. But in this game, it feels very needed, which is not good. That is how you exclude a pretty decent part just because they don't want to be spending their hours just mid-maxing, working on shit. Like, most of the time, metas aren't fucking easily discovered either. Like, I have no idea what is, like, strong weaponry this season. Like, I have no fucking clue. And, like, rolls and shit, I have no idea what is good and what's not.
That vent connects to the bunker. Blast it off
So,
and head in.
like, can we make shit a bit easier? Like, back when they had, oh, this weapon, this mod boosts this weapon. Its damage, or whatever the fuck. Sure, it made those weapons unreasonably strong, but at least it was very simple to understand, oh, those guns are meta this season. Which made it a whole lot easier to work on their buffs. To work on builds and shit for somebody who have less of a bother to understand every fucking corner of the build making, or have the people to ask for help. Like, who the fuck am I gonna reach out to? Dad? Yeah, he ain't gonna give a flat fuck about me. And I haven't seen jack shit of videos being like, oh, this doesn't matter this season or whatever. I know a few things that are good this season, but they by no means tell me that, oh, this is how you should be playing this season. Like back when Season of the Lost, for example, we had I believe it was Season of the Lost anyway, we had a fusion rifle meta, in which there was the one, I think it was Season of the Lost, unless it was Season of the Spice, or I don't remember.
I remember
But we
Eric saying
had
something about Hive using crystals to maintain their barriers. Take them out.
but we had this mod. Forget what it's called. I think it was like something acceleration or something. But it boosted the amount of damage that or like you would the more you shot an enemy with fusion rifles, it would then make it so that when you used the more damage, or the fusion rifles did more damage, something like that. Which effectively meant that, oh, fusion rifles became good to bosses and shit. Which made it, okay, very simple. That's actually how, when I got my first solo dungeon clear on Shattered Throne. Because I actually understood the builds. But now if I look through here, I only know that this is a good mod, and this is a good mod. All of these other three, I have no idea what the fuck they're used for, or if they're even remotely close to good. The only reason why I know that those other two mods are good is because I've heard, oh, this mod is decent, or whatever, through the videos on YouTube. Like, if people have to look up somewhere else that something is good, kinda not great. unless they're very average players, but you gotta consider that I have several thousand hours on this game, and I still can't understand the build. Like, I don't have a fucking degree in algebra. Please fucking fix this. Making it simpler doesn't mean nerfing everything else or whatever, or removing it entirely. It just means word things better, make mods very clear, make your mods a little bit more like fuck, what you call that? Yeah, very easy to understand anyway. Other than having to try to understand how literally everything works by and with the fact that you also removed the best area to test shit out as well. Sucks. And then we are now offered the shitty fucking shooting range on Mars, the Enclave. You are honestly, you need to add back that other one that was on where you could spawn in ammo, enemies, and various different things. You could spawn in all the relics from the raids, shit like that. You need to make that one again. Which, funny enough, it is in the game, so implement it, Bungie. Like, seriously. And I only know that this loadout is pretty good for me because this one I see often used. This funnel web is like recluse, and I like running recluse. I like running recluse. And well, eager to swords because I can do this. Easy maneuvering. Even though I fucking require shit out of sometimes because the fucking auto aim. And kind of gotta fix the fucking amount that they move around, especially for travel projectiles. Excuse me. But for games like Sea of Thieves, you gotta fucking think about the new player. The new player has nowhere to practice, and Maiden Voyage doesn't teach you fucking jack diggity fucking shit. It's a tutorial for buttons, not for fighting. To be honest, literally the fucking Sea of Thieves, the Sea of Thieves tutorial barely covers ship stuff at all. I don't think it even covers cannons at all, which is fucking ironic. It only covers like your sail, your wheel, your anchor, your general on the ground stuff, like digging up, following maps, I think, and shit like that. That's about it of what it covers. It doesn't even tell you that you can get drunk in the game. Like, 99% of the shit that's in the game is never told to you.
I detect no changes to the underlying system architecture. I've secured the launch
Like, and just offering a tutorial that's more that explains more doesn't help either, because that still doesn't allow them to practice, and they can't exactly practice in the normal mode because of the fact that some fat fuck comes by that does nothing but play the game repeatedly with Doritos and Mountain Dew right next to him, and there's like 400 pounds in his gaming chair, who's probably never seen grass in months. Like, where the fuck is the fun in that? And then as somebody who probably has a family, they need to take care of, go to work every day, a regular 9 to 5 job, and genuinely barely has enough time to play whatsoever, especially in a whole week. Like, how do you expect them to perform the exact same as somebody who does nothing but play your game? It is a very shit expectation. So, doing what you've done recently in your most recent update, I'm sorry, but you kind of fucked yourself over. You're the reason that this season sucks. Not the players. You made content that's heavily focused around basically a small portion of the community. Everything that PvE players earned through that update was a higher spawn resource cap and a few nerfs to Wonder Bombs and some time where hopefully PvP players don't target them. Keyword hopefully. Anybody farming gold isn't gonna give a flying rat's ass about the new mode. And anybody who barely enjoys the PvP to begin with, sure as fuck ain't gonna go and stay in the mode. Which would mean that every PvP player that they would cross previously, making them hopefully reconsider attacking that ship on the horizon, would be gone. Pretty much, if they see any ship off in the distance while this PvP mode is released, and pretty new and most PvP players are stuck in there, they could just fucking attack PvE players. And then there's people who don't play as much, but still aren't whatchamacallit.
Too cautious when keeping secrets. Some information is far too dangerous to remain freely accessible. I've hidden many things from my
fucking
for their own sake. I can appreciate Rasputin's
like, honestly,
decision to do
I'm
so
so done with this PvP shit.
We must
Like,
wrest control of
the only thing that us PvEers, heavy PvEers, I'm gonna call them as, because there is a difference between normal PvEers who pretty much like it how it is now, and those PvEers who just can't stand this fucking PvP anymore. There's a bit of difference. It's not that big, but I'm not gonna deny it. It is a pretty decent ish difference. The only issue is that the people that the game caters towards right now is bullies, effectively. So so effectively, Rare, you've made a bully simulator, and now it's being ruined because of the fact that people are doing exactly what your bully simulator is meant to be. For bullying. And yeah, I say bullying because getting sunk repeatedly, maybe not by the same person, but it doesn't matter, getting sunk repeatedly over and over is incredibly boring. And it doesn't help your skill because of the fact that you didn't have a fighting chance to begin with. The main reason why SBMM works and are very much implemented in PvP games is because it tries to match you against the same skill players, but then after a while of winning and like raising your KD a bit, it matches you against with like the next tier up. And if you get your shit stomped in, you get lowered back down. And sure, sometimes the implementation is ass and doesn't work whatsoever. But that's purely because the devs implementing it didn't do their job properly. A good implementation, you won't notice is there. You'll have fun and a decent challenge as well. But if you are so against it that you won't even allow it to get a chance to exist, then all hope is lost for you. And 2 fucking weapons that didn't matter to begin with. Fun. Or 2 stuff that didn't matter to begin with as... But, Sea of Thieves can't implement a, SBMM kind of thing because of the fact that it's not... It can't easily track it. It actually can not track it at all most of the time, because the whole scaling bit on wins and losses is the poor implementation that I was talking about earlier. Because most of the time, you might get a good teammate or something like that, and you get skyrocketed into the thing because you win, and because your skill ain't actually that great, you'll be skyrocketed into a into a match where you don't have a fighting chance, which means that you're just forced to just sit down and take the beating. And where is that? When is that fun? When has that ever been fun? It has never been fun to me. But that is literally how the SBM has to be implemented in Sea of Thieves, as that's literally the only way for them to do so. Because if you are a driver, you're not going to get kills if they can't go on your like aiming skill or whatever. And if you're like a dude who stays underground and or under the deck fixing the ship, you're not going to get any kills or any hits on the boat or anything anyway. So you as well will remain in the shitty pool if they try to scale on the amount of kills that you got or the amount of hits that you got on the other boat. Which means that how the fuck are they supposed to balance it then if it's not wins? They literally can't. There's no way they can. Sure, they can divide those skill base. Like if you're solo wing, you'll only get yours, or you'll get the ones that you were doing solo. Rinse, repeat. For the other like ways, if you're playing with more and more people, but that's gonna be such a fucking complicated thing to implement, and it's also gonna be quite annoying when you think about it. And not only will it be that, but you'll also have to think about like the fact that PvP or PvE players who aren't good at the PvE or PvP and just wanted to have some fun playing the game and obtaining all the stuff that I had to have, all the curses. Well, now they've got now they're forced into PvP, and not only for one curse. It's actually for one heavily customizable curse, two curses that make you into ghost, and then another curse that makes your eyes glow and very Athena-like. That's just the only ones I know off my top of my head at the moment, and I haven't been able to access the other layer that is completely new under the Reapers. Because, oh, hey, guess what? The fucking levels! Who the fuck thought, oh, level 100 to unlock the first item you'll ever unlock? Oh yeah, it also suffers from the more you level up, the slower your level up will be. Like, holy fuck! It was the worst decision of the update. Cause I think I heard by somebody. I don't know if he did the math or not. I don't know. Don't care. Cause honestly, I can't be fucking arsed to do it myself. Cause no thanks. I think it was like 100 losses to get to level 100, or like 1,000 losses for 100 or something like that. I don't know. That's a lot of losses. That's a lot of time dumped into it. All for what? The first unlock. Then there's 900 more levels. That all starts to get slower. So eventually at like 500, rank 500, to get one more rank, you need to lose 500 times. Where the fuck is that fun? Sure, just because you have a win every now and then does not help. It really does not. Especially because you'll be losing 99% of the time. Especially if you're a lower skilled player with either an open crew or solo. But the thing is, you don't have an option to go anywhere else. You are forced into the PvP. And sure, you can say, oh, it's just cosmetics, you can ignore it. It's the rarest type of cosmetic. And like, if it was only a ship set, I wouldn't give a flying rat's ass. I'd say have fun. And not care. I would not say a single shit except for wear PvE mode and then leave again. But the issue is, it is not only PvE or only ship cosmetics and maybe cosmetics for your character. There's actually much more than that. And much rarer. Along with locations. Like, how the fuck did you think this was a good idea? I am honestly dumbfounded. And sure, the loudest voices have been begging for something PvE or PvP. But was it a good decision, Rare? Or have you had mostly only blowback? Sure, at launch you didn't have blowback. But how about it now? When the dust has settled. People found a way to cheese and easily win unless the other person prepared for it. And Um, Either that or several ships team up on a single server to tackle one person. Like, imagine bursting out of that ocean only to see like 4 galleons coming after you as a solo sloop. And then one sloop in the back is just like, hi, I'm your actual enemy, but fuck you. Get to deal with these 4 galleons. Or 3 galleons or whatever. Like, where is that fun? When the fuck is that fun? Like, it is such a shit implementation of PvP. And along with the forced implementation, effectively putting up the middle finger to, funny enough, most of your playbase. Like, there are people who still pay attention to your shit, hoping for a PvE mode. Yet you're constantly kicking them in the nuts over and over and spitting it in their face. That's all you're doing every time. You refuse to give them what they want. The reason why they don't jump on play is because the PvP fucking sucks. And getting into it later, after the game is blown up, is nigh on impossible. Unless you enjoy throwing yourself at the wall over and over. I'm sorry, but that's not fun. That has never ever been fun. And I enjoy the story and the PvE gameplay of your gamer, but I'm gonna be fucking honest. Your PvP fucking sucks. You need to fix it. Like, it's really fucking bad. Please fix. And fix by adding a way to PvE earn levels for those 2 factions. And as well as doing that, giving the PvEers a private PvE server with only friends. And sure, it'll make reputation and shit like that a whole lot easier to grind. But let me point this out. If you grind it like that, you don't have anyone else to blame than yourself when you no longer have content to play. If you try blaming Bungie, or not Bungie, Rare, you should be looked at literally with the dumbest fucking insanity. But like, if you farm everything within a year, you can't complain that you don't have anything to do. Because hey, guess what? You made that happen. You made it so that you no longer have anything to do. Not everybody else. It's like spending 3,000 hours on a game and then complaining that, oh, there's no more content to do. It's fucking stupid. And you're gonna be laughed at for the rest of your fucking life. Like, I can get it, running out of content to do in a game. Like, I'm at the end of Pokemon Scarlet right now. I'm not sure what to do next. Does that mean I'm gonna stop playing? Probably not, because there's a bunch of things I kind of still want to do. as I enjoy that game a bit more than RCS, to be honest. Um, but it's also like spending 3,000 hours in, let's say, a single player game, let's say Skyrim, and then complaining that, oh, I don't have anything to do anymore. There's so little to do. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck do you mean? The fuck? Huh? The fuck is going through your brain when you're saying that? This has been a fair fucking rant, but I'd like somebody who actually wants to discuss this with me. Possible solutions. Want to sit down and have a calm, collected chat about this, not just immediately be like, "Oh, it will never work." Because, holy fuck, I get so many people that straight up should not be fucking influencers or anything like that. There's a YouTuber out there who I originally found through an iceberg video relating to Sea of Thieves, then posted a video that was, oh my god, how the fuck did he even think it was a good idea? Because it was mocking the people he's actually abusing every day he plays PvP. Like, I can get it. You enjoy the PvP, sure. But don't force people who don't want to go against you to go against you. I get it, pirate game, but I mean, you do pirating and literally anything else in the game as well. So, if you want to be a pirate, just fucking play the tall tales and shut the fuck up. Or don't harass the people who don't want to harass you. And done. Offer those people an area to go so that they won't be bothered by you. And you never have to see them again. Or hear jack shit from them again. They'll enjoy their shit on their own and you can have fun in your shit. Sinking ships left and right. That's literally... The thing is, like, most people who enjoy how the game is right now isn't gonna leave. That's the thing. The only thing that's gonna happen is more people can join. More people can play your game. It's literally only a plus. But if you're so fucking threatened by it, don't play the game, because then clearly the fucking game is shit. Like, fucking Smash Bros. Melee, or whatever the fuck it is called, has been up for like 21 years now, and it's still going strong. Pretty sure the servers are barely being kept up. The game sure as fuck isn't being maintained. Like, bug fixes and shit like that is probably not happening anymore. Am I gonna blame Nintendo for stopping development on it? No, because it's an old game. But the thing is, the PvP was so, whatchamacallit? Stable and fun and, like, shit like that, for people that they stuck with it for so many years. It's like saying somebody who still plays TF2 or whatever, to stop playing it because it's old. If they don't care. But, like, if you're threatened by a PvE mode where most people probably won't even care unless they literally just want a calm day, which, can you blame them for that? Like, am I gonna blame you for sitting down and watching Netflix or taking a nap after 6 hours work? 6 hours straight work? No. I'm not. Everybody relaxes their own way. Some people relax by sitting down, watching TV, drinking cold one or whatever, or they play a relaxing game, like a story game, or just a game they genuinely find relaxing. Or they take a nap. That's literally a few of the options. The thing is, like, if you don't allow players to play the way they want, you're kind of just fucking over the player base more than helping them or making your game or helping your game or whatever the fuck. Because, Rare, if you think about this, you can get a lot more people into your game and into spending money on Pirate Emporium if you allow them to play the way they want. Sure, some people might leave the mode that you currently got, but not enough to make the main mode lose its point. If that happens, then that's kind of a sign that PvP wasn't fun to begin with. But people just forced themselves to play that mode because it was the only thing they had. But that doesn't mean that they have fun. And let me ask you one thing. Ain't a game made to have fun in? Didn't you make the game for people to have fun in? Isn't that why you described it as a sandbox? Make what you will with the game. Oh wait, you can't do that anymore. Because you're now forced to play a certain way. You're now forced to play a certain specific way. Because of the PvP forcing you to. You want your game to have an area of mystique every time you enter the game server. Like, you never know what you're going to come across. But I pretty much know what I'm going to come across every fucking time I run into a player. It's a shoot first, ask questions later. Doesn't matter what I say or do. It's always shoot first, ask questions later. Doesn't matter who I come to or who I run across. Could be a fucking level 1 gold hoarder running fuck all on their ship. Being completely new players, they will still shoot first, ask questions later. Because they'll probably run into a player who completely just decimated them within a fucking minute. What are you expecting them to think after that happened? That's happened. They immediately respond with hostility, even if it's an entirely different ship. It's a game built on trust issues. And it's extremely visible now, especially to people who's just starting. Because people who are all too familiar and settled in don't have that issue. Because they do the exact same thing. They pretty much admit it themselves. Sure, you have some times where a streamer decides to go, oh, I want to be friendly towards this person and help them. But that doesn't help the 500,000 other times that they sink someone and have their entire session ruined. Like, the game is based on one side wasting the time. That is not fun. That is honestly not fun. And if the people who want this this edition added have to physically riot in order for you to realize that forcing PvP into people who don't want that is a bad choice, then I guess grab the pitchforks and torches. Because you need to realize that your game is quite suffering right now. Sure, it may not look like it, but your player counts could be higher. Your player counts of spending money in your pirate emporium could be higher. Your general income could be higher. Your player base could be much more happy if you just stop listening to the 30% or 35% that are so heavily against it. Their entire arguments fall apart as soon as anybody puts even a slight bit of weight on it. Or they quote you years ago. Your opinions can very easily change, mate. If Microsoft decides to push down the thumb and tell you to add that, then you don't have a choice but to add it. For example. Because otherwise they'll stop supporting you. For example. Or anything like that. You can't force people to play the way you want. Especially when it's not a game that is focused around one specific way. You're gathering in people from both sides of the coin. You can't force them to play on the side of the coin. You're not targeting specifically EVP players. You are targeting both PvE and PvP players. But then the PvE players don't have anywhere to go and they're forced into the same pool as the PvP players. And it just stops becoming fun because the PvP players obviously know what they're doing. And yeah, they definitely sweat a lot, meaning that they're eventually, if they're not already, going to be good enough to hit pretty much every fucking cannonball shot. Meanwhile, a PvEer doesn't need to hit that many cannonball shots. Doesn't need to have a hit to miss ratio of 10 per miss. 10 cannonballs, then 1 miss. But a PvP player does. Which is why the PvP will not work as it currently is. You'd need to separate them if you're going to want to make the game actually competitive. You're going to need to separate them. This is going to be a heavy change and completely change your entire game, which I know you're not going to want. But if you're going to want your PvP to become competitive, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to completely separate the modes. And then in that PvP mode, you spawn with infinite cannonballs, infinite blunder bombs, infinite fire bombs, infinite curse bombs, whatever the fuck. Infinite planks, infinite everything. And then effectively just have it based on, yeah, how many wins you have. Or how many sinks you get before dying, or before getting sunk. Or having how many shots out of, how many shot hit to miss ratio, should I rather call it. But that again then tells you that, oh, the fucking, if you separate the modes for an April Fool's, just that one day alone, if you separate the modes, then see how individually they perform, you'll then see that the people who play PvE quite enjoys their role then. Meanwhile, you'll see that the PvP side of the faction, side of the game, gets very toxic, very shitty, and just genuinely quite annoying and irritating and just unfun. Because in PvP, the only people having fun are the people winning. And, well, maybe not the only people having fun. But the question is, how long can you go losing before you start getting bored and annoyed and just start having a bad day? Like me in Destiny, for example, got quite fucking annoyed just because a few design choices. Because I'm so sick of it. Like in that Mars one, for example, I tried using my sword to lunge over a little bit of a gap, but I couldn't do that because there's an invisible wall shoving me out, stopping me, which was not fun. And then just genuinely just having no idea exactly where to go because it's not really telling you. And general shit like that. Genuinely just keep fucking it up. Kept fucking it up. And I got extremely fucking pissed that I had to quit the game for the day. I am back on it now because I didn't know what else to have in the background of this stream, to be honest. I got a bit of content out of it, so fuck it. But for a bit now, I'm just gonna stand here and rant while my character's doing the same move. But Rare, you've got to realize that at some point, PvP becomes unbearable for us lower skilled players or newer players. Most of the time, newer players are the ones getting fucking bullied and having so little fun that they end up quitting the game. And we currently look up how expensive this game is. Because I'm pretty sure it's like $30. So imagine being a 15-year-old, having grinded up $30 because you want $30 or $40 because you see this pirate game that you're really wanting, only to buy it, and then 100 hours in, you realize that there's a part of the game that is extremely fucking toxic that you didn't exactly sign up for. And I guess advertising PvP could help with this somewhat on paper, but it might not help because usually in a game like that they have an option to go down a PvE only path. But this game is the only one that has a good PvE mode that is quite fun. But refuses to allow you to play the way you want. There's so much PvE content. Like you have Megalodons, Krakens, Voyages, world events, Tall Tales, Pirates of Tall Tales, secret shrines, treasuries. I'm pretty sure there's more, but I currently can't think of everything. And you have a lot of shit to grind for. You have cosmetics, you have reputations. But the entire thing that's ruining it is the PvP. Because the people who don't sign up for PvP in the first place no matter if they know it's a part of the game or not. Maybe they enjoy how the gameplay looks, and when they get the game themselves, they enjoy how the gameplay feels and plays and how decently hard it is. Like, for example, I can use one enemy as an example of how to use your brain in a fight. The keg skeletons. Or suicidia skellies. Or whatever you want to call them. You can pull out your gun, shoot the keg from a distance, and have them blow themselves up. Or you can shoot them and keep the keg and blow that up somewhere else. Or you can use your sword. And sure, for anybody who don't know the trick, that will sound very fucking stupid. Because you should be blowing yourself up, right? Wrong. If you do it right and look down, you should hit the skeleton and not the keg. Killing the skeleton, but not blowing up the keg. Sure, you can fuck it up, but that's where the skill comes in. That's where, that's where the skill comes in PvE. Using your mind to overcome shit like that. And like, for example, the crab monsters, specifically the tanks of the like underwater enemies, you can use a sword against them as well if you're skilled enough. It is quite skilled. It's just not that skilled in your average PvE game, because it actually provides you with a mental skill ceiling. But it also provides a low enough skill floor for anyone to get into the game, which is very rare to see in a game. Like Destiny, for example. I can't get any new players into this game. I've tried. But they usually quit within a week. Because the new player experience is horrible. Everything is way too complicated. Everything is way too out there. And then the genuine new player content that they get to have is fuck all. And then they have to pay for other content. Like, you have to pay for all the DLCs in order to get to have fun. And sure, that makes perfect sense normally. But there's nothing for anyone to do otherwise. A new player usually quits because they don't have any fun, because the start of the game is absolutely boring. The fun in this game is dungeons, raids, those like big content, legendary stories, which you won't get unless you're prepared for it. If you're not prepared for the legendary shit, you're not gonna have any fun whatsoever. And if you like, let's say if I was gonna take one of the new players that I have through Vault of Glass, they would pretty much be useless, because let's say fuck it, the Taraba, for example. Or actually, no. Let's use the Divinity as an example. Let's say the gun itself is good. Oh, actually, no. I've got a much better example. Say we're trying to do King's Fall or whatever, and it's a fusion rifle meta, which means that Vex Mythoclast is the broken weapon. Well, you now need to complete a raid. Not only do you need to complete a raid, but you need to be lucky enough to get the RNG to be on your side to have it drop. And this might not seem like a big number, especially considering some of the other fucking numbers that this fucking game makes. 23 completions. And what did I get for that? Did I get a Vex for that? Fuck no. And let's say every one of those hours, every one of those raids took a single hour to complete, in which it most likely didn't. It probably took more than an hour. And that's only the completions. That's not even counting the fails, by the way. So let's say every one of them took 2 hours. You can then think that of nearly 2 days of non-stop raiding the same raid, in which you can't even do. You are limited to 3 times a week. Three times a week. And I don't know the exact drop number, but I'm effectively comparing it to 1% at this point, because I've seen people up in the 70s before getting it. Or up in the 50s and 40s. Like, that's the main reason why I quit raiding in the first place. And not to mention, like, the red border drops. You saw me get one previously, which was getting, like, patterns for the ship, so you can craft it. It's also fucking a pain in the ass. Like, let's say I wanted to get this shotgun, right? I not only have to get it once, but I have to get it 5 fucking times. Let me use another example. Say I wanted this shotgun, which I have a high chance of obtaining. Pretty high chance of obtaining. But I need to obtain it 5 times in a red border in order to get its pattern. But this sword I only need to obtain once in a red pattern, but it's rare. I have a higher chance of getting this thing's pattern than the shotgun. It's insane, ain't it? A rarer drop allows you to obtain its pattern faster than a slow drop, or than a fast drop. It's insane. It's honestly quite insane. And let's say, so you're new to the game. You're not going to be going for patterns. So imagine you have the prime opportunity to get a pattern that's extremely strong, but you don't go for it because you don't think it's strong, because you don't know what's strong yet. So, which is perfectly fine. You then just go on about your day normally. Then you realize that you had that chance, like, a couple more days in, when you start to watch YouTubers and, like, how to get better or whatever. You realize that you had the chance to obtain that really strong shit, and you fucked it up. Now what? Now you're sitting there dealing with that shit. But like, honestly, if you're gonna have PvE in your game, make sure that they can opt out of PvP. Because if not, you're gonna attract the wrong crowd, and you'll get what you're doing now. What people are doing now, Rare. You'll get people that are so against the PvE server that they'd rather cry like children not getting their favorite Lego toy from the toy store. Or a spoiled brat not getting what they asked for Christmas. Like, it's so fucking insane how much those people cry. Just because somebody asks for a singular PvE server. Something that wouldn't affect that player whatsoever. Still cries like somebody who's had a really fucking shit run in. Like, what the fuck? It's fucking insane. The community is... The community and the bad game design is mostly why I quit your game. Rare. If you add a PvE server, I'll gladly come back. I'll gladly start spending money in your Pirate Emporium again. But I sure as fuck will not, as long as you keep catering to PvP players. I refuse. You need to sort this out. If you don't, I'm sorry, but your game will forever be shit. And your game will forever be in a toxic mindset when it comes to your player base. I'm sorry, but your game will forever be shit if you don't stop. Like, it's already bad. You need to fix it. And fixing it is not adding another PvE or PvP mode. And if you have a PvE server, post about it. Or if you have like a PvE server in the works, like, or like a friends only in the works, as I've been suggesting, post about it and don't listen to the PvPers telling you, oh, we don't want that, whatever, because they clearly don't have good arguments against it. Like, the fuck. You can poke holes in it so much that the entire thing looks like fucking Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese is more sturdier than their fucking thing. Arguments. Because they're usually like, oh, I feel it will be worse. That doesn't offer anything actually to the argument. It's about as hollow as a goddamn... the shittiest attempt at rationalizing anything. Like, at that point, you're literally better off not even bothering. And, like, Rare, in your PvE, you have people stealing shit repeatedly. You have your player dig up, like, long lost, well, not exactly lost, as you know where they are, but dig up like buried items that people didn't exactly want found. And that is stealing. That is thievery. So whether PvP is in the game or not, it's still Sea of Thieves. The name still holds up, funny enough. That is literally one of the main arguments against PvE servers. Or that the servers can't handle it. But the thing is, like, I'm not even asking for Rare to host the servers. I literally host them myself. When I decide to play a PvE server, I'd rather host it myself than have Rare do it. Not joking. I'd rather host my own fucking session for my friends through Steam or whatever. I'd rather do that than have them waste resources on it when I can very easily do it myself. And I don't mean like make dedicated servers or some shit like that possible. What I would want for you to set up is a way for me to effectively host my own session through crossplay without the need to set up like some session or something. Effectively do the same thing like the Gmod has done with their servers. They set up through Steam. I don't know if you want to do it through Xbox stuff or what, because PC can also join through Xbox. And Xbox players can also obviously join through Xbox, but I don't know how you do that at the moment, as I haven't thought of that, and I don't really know how those shit work, as I'm quite unexperienced with that kind of stuff. But my main idea is there, and you're free to fucking use it, because to be honest, it's gonna increase your fucking game's quality in general. So it's literally a quality of life change, yet people refuse to have it. It's actually so bad that people are like this. But I honestly don't know what to say anymore, man. Their arguments have more holes than fucking. There's gonna be a dark joke incoming, so close your ears if you're not if you don't want to hear it. But their arguments have more holes in them than American fucking schoolgoers. It's not even fucking funny anymore. Like, I can very much get it, wanting to have everyone playing together. But the game just ain't fun that way. Especially not now when you have people who have played for God knows how long. And they're like clearly way too good at the game. And there's no way to differentiate them from getting into a server with somebody who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, there was even a YouTuber that admitted themselves that the amount of times they get on a boat and only to see a very shit voyage is embarrassing and shit. Because it's newer players that get bullied this way. Newer players, slash less skilled players, slash people who don't want to engage in the PvP to begin with. And imagine, you're just minding your own business on a tall tale. Some fat fuck decides, oh, I'm gonna attack this person. and you obviously start running away because you don't want to fight, and you clearly tell them that we don't have anything. You can come aboard if you don't fire, and you can look if you want. Like there was one time when me and somebody I play with we were playing on a sloop, just doing tall tales. We were trying to complete the Shores of Gold storyline. We had to completely toss the tall tale aside because of a fucking random ass brig saw a sloop and decided easy target. We had to run and go get a fucking reaper, tell them the situation, and pray they didn't sink us. Thankfully, they didn't, and they helped us. Like, they attacked them and let us go to do our tall tale. They did ask for like chain shots, shit like that, but obviously I'm not gonna need them, so they can have them. Like, what should I care? If that's the price I have to pay to not be sunk, I'd rather fucking take that than, yeah, anything. It's extremely shitty. And for people who are of less skill, or just genuinely not interested in the PvP, it's incredibly unfun to be forced into it repeatedly and just have your several sessions wasted and just genuinely left in a shitty mood. I've had many more times when I quit the game having less fun than when I started it. Is that how your game should be treating players? Making people have less fun than when they started the game. If not, then you gotta think about adding a way for people to have a private session with friends only, where they can earn gold, they can fight each other, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Like a proper sandbox game. Sure, you can keep your main mode. I'm not saying delete that. I'm by no means saying delete that. Not even fucking close. Only thing I'm not even saying delete the PvP part of the new mode. I'm not even saying that. I'm literally only suggesting additions, not removals. If any one of you thought that I was saying remove PvP in general, what the fuck? Because sure, I might think the PvP is bad, but a streamer or genuinely anybody else not having an issue with it might not. Then okay, cool. So let's just have fun in separate servers then. Let me have fun in a PvE friends only mode, and you have fun in a normal mode. Like, even Bloodborne allows you to opt out of PvP. Let's say I'm playing Elden Ring, right? And I get invaded. I could just fucking stand there and die, because I don't lose that much when I do die. If I lose anything at all. Which means that losing isn't such a big deal as it is in Sea of Thieves. which allows you to not even bother putting up a fight. Sure, you may need to make that progress you did again. But if you rested at every grace stop along the way, you should be fine. I have no issues whatsoever. But, and yes, my voice is starting to fail because of chatting and ranting so much. I have ranted for about nearly 2 hours now. And, but yeah, like, there's no way to opt out when it comes to Sea of Thieves PvP. There's no way to opt out. And I would say, let's say GTA, right? GTA Online. It's probably the most similar game to Sea of Thieves that I've actually full on experienced in their how the game basically functions. Because your entire point is to be a criminal. But sure, you do that in the PvE shit too. But you can be an asshole and go kill other players for a bonus. The issue got so bad, they had to make it so that you were allowed to make money in a private session. Sure, still some things still required you to have players in your session because it wasn't changed or whatever, but other things just don't. And most of the time they could just be your friends. Then hopefully if they weren't cunts, they'd leave you alone. They just do their own shit as well. Or if you were doing, let's say, sell missions, that help you. That help you sell. Be in your organization helping you. Because you don't need enemy players in the session to do so. Sure, being in an online session gives you more. Like, what I would recommend them doing if they want you to play the main mode more than you are grinding in solo sessions. Don't nerf what you already earn, because then you're extremely shitting on PvE players. Just buff what you already earn in the main mode, which would make it way more effective for you to stay in the normal mode than it would be for you to leave the normal mode, especially if you have like some succeeds here and there at winning the fights. If you aren't completely hopeless, you have no need to leave that mode. So, which means that most people aren't going to leave that mode because they don't have a reason to. But if you are completely hopeless, you can't win a single ship fight for the life of you, even if your life depended on it, you could go into that PvE mode and have fun there. Sure, that's not stopping PvP players from just leaving the other mode in general just to go and farm like 400 stacks of chests on a single ship. Nothing's stopping them from doing that. But they will already earn a lot less than they would in the other mode. Let's say you have the best PvP player ever in the game, in the entire game. Like, never lost a single fight for months. Has made it to, like, win streak 500 in the new fucking mode or whatever. Just to over-exaggerate this dude. Like, never loses a fight. Him leaving that mode, going into the PvE mode to farm money, would be completely and utterly pointless. If he stays in that normal mode, he would earn more cash per chest. Let's say a normal captain's chest earns the price that it does now. Let's say that price now is 2,000 just for easy money making. Then it would be like 3,500 in the normal mode. That's only one item, by the way, and you usually end up with several on your ship. So it would go from like 8,000 to like over 10,000 from a single haul. But you have the risk of PvP, and it's not without risk of getting sunk. Sure, the PvE mode isn't without risk of getting sunk anyway, but it's through easier manageable areas. You then, sorry if I'm like going and all that shit a lot. It's 'cause I'm not going by a script or anything. This is all shit that I'm coming up with on the spot. Yeah, so let's say that dude can earn 100,000 gold on that server, on that normal server. On that PvE server, he'd probably earn only 75,000 due to that minuscule boost that he gets from the normal server. He would earn so much less. Then think of that, and then like you can add, yeah, I don't know, maybe some PvE or PvP events, like if you were to go here, stay within this certain ring or something, only 2 people are allowed to enter the ring at once at one point. Everybody else will be locked outside of due to a force field, and it would appear like in the middle of the map, pretty much in the middle of the ocean. No islands surrounding or anything. So no islands are locked within the thing, and players can't accept it or access it. And then the winner can take a bunch more rewards, and especially if they manage to stay in until the timer exceeds, so it becomes like a king of the hill kind of thing. If they lose the duel, they'll be kicked out. They'll be spawned at a different island. They can come back and try again if they want, or they can give up and not bother going back. And then like while the people are picking up stuff that the other ship dropped, the timer would pause, and until everything is picked up anyway, and the walls would still be in place until everything's picked up. If any loot is dropped on the outside by some weird circumstances, then that loot would just be available for anyone to pick up because it's outside the arena. And running into the wall would cause holes and shit. And not even allow you to pass. Like, for example, what it does now is it just slowly starts putting holes in you, like the Red Sea. Which is shit, by the way. But this like thing is only gonna be available within the PvP mode, and not the PvE mode that I'm talking about. So you get content specific to that, or world events specific to that, which involves PvP in a manner where you get a pretty fair chance at it, and it doesn't involve other rewards or anything like that you need to earn through a reputation grind with the PvP. It just allows you to get a new world event. Maybe there's some achievements relating to it, but they don't unlock anything like a curse. like how it's doing currently. Like, there's so many more ways they could have implemented PvP content that would actually not be so bad that PvE players are forced to go into it to unlock some stuff they want, but also not too shit for the PvP players to be just like, okay. Now I get the on demand kind of thing, which is fine, but let's say you add a like tab on the main menu screen before you select which you, or like where you select what game mode you're playing, where it means opt into PvP, PvP only or whatever, where you would have the ability to go under the ocean and hunt somebody else, where you opt in to do that, which effectively means that you can only remove the leveling system of the new shit, but have it so that they still do the same kind of thing. Like, your money shit still works the same way. Like, the more you kill, the more your hourglass goes up in price and whatever. And the same kind of shit, like how it functions now, just the leveling gone. And the leveling put to something that both factions can obtain very easily. By factions, I mean PvEVP, or PvE and PvP players can both earn pretty easily, without needing to cross the border if they don't want to. There's so many ways they could have made this season so much better. But they went with locking shit behind a certain wall for certain people. And it's not even a decent like grind for the lower skilled players. It's an insane grind for those lower players. And like, this is your traditional Bungie maneuver that they apparently do according to Twitter anyway. Like, apparently according to Twitter, Bungie nerfs shit that would make the grind pretty nice and bearable, only to increase the amount of players play their game for longer periods of time because of increasing the grind. It's pretty much what you've done, where it's honestly quite shit. And the fact that you have the audacity to effectively torture PvE players with the way you chat and shit about this topic is fucking shit. Because PvE players have been complaining for years. Or for a long while at least. People have been complaining and wanting a fucking PvE server for a really long time. But instead you choose to add something for people who are PvP. And meanwhile doing so, fucking over the people who are asking for you for a single addition that does not affect the other half of your game whatsoever. Where is this common sense? Where the fuck is it? Because I don't get it. And I'm getting to my limit with how frustrating your studio is. Like, getting in contact with you guys and like trying to see if I can like directly contact you for suggesting this and suggesting issues and shit, or talking with a general developer or anything like that is nigh on impossible for me, or for anyone who's not incredibly popular, but the people who are already incredibly popular don't suffer from any of the issues. And they sure as fuck don't want to listen to the issue. Actually. Because they feel... They think that it's gonna ruin the game for them. That only try-hard sweats will be left. And that every other player is gonna leave that mode. But if that happens, that just tells you that the PvP is shit. And that we're right in saying it's a bully simulator. You have... Just because PvE has been getting content doesn't mean they've been getting the content they want. If PvP players keep getting shitty challenges that you're not asking for, should PvE players be like, oh, but you've been getting content? Should we be going like that? Because those adventures and shit, I sure as fuck don't like. They're shitty. I'd rather have fucking tall tales, honestly. And sure, people ruin them. But people ruin adventures too. Just look at the other one a bit ago. People were fucking spawn camping people. Like, what the fuck? PvP players are fucking horrible most of the time. And where you gotta fucking listen to us PvE players at one point. And add the content that we want, and not the content that we do not want. And you sure as fuck gotta do some massive ass revamping to your fucking seasonal shit that is currently out. Because that mode is not gonna hold. It will not hold. You're trying to make a competitive game mode in a game where a competitive game mode will never ever work. Because you can't properly implement one. At least Bungie can properly implement one. They just are half-assing it because, honestly, most of the players don't play Crucible. So they don't... Crucible isn't at the forefront of their minds. They have way bigger issues. Sure, quite a lot of people play the Crucible mode, but sure as fuck ain't all of the players. I play a fair bit of PvP, but I sure as fuck don't assume that most people play PvP, or like you for that matter. But you've got to fucking realize that PvP isn't everything to your game. You are taking the wrong path to solve an issue. Like back when the arena was in, the shit you could obtain was a title, some ship cosmetics, I'm pretty sure, some character cosmetics, shit like that, which is perfectly fine. I am not gonna go and say that that's not fine. Because a title, sure, it's small and not really gameplay defining, but it still holds weight. If somebody sees you running that shit, they're not gonna challenge you. But let's say a PvE player, let's say they want to get it, but they don't like the PvE or PvP, but then they can find something else that they enjoy to run instead of those ship and character cosmetics. Let's say a PvE player gets the choice between the Ashen ship and crew set, or the Sea Dog shit, they can then choose based on if they want to do PvP or not. If they choose not, then it's just Ashen Dragon set. And they'd be fine with that. But let's say you want to be a skeleton in a pirate game, in the pirate game. Yeah, good fucking luck trying to obtain that without doing PvP. Let's say you want to be a ghost for whatever reason. Good fucking luck. PvP again. It's the rarest types of cosmetics. Rare. You put the wrong kind of cosmetics into that fucking pool. It really should not have been PvP that you gave that out for. Sorry to say it, but you've made a massive mistake. And nobody's gonna be happy for whatever you do next. If you choose not to remove it, PvE players will be incredibly pissed at you. If you remove it and add it into somewhere where PvE players will also be able to earn it, PvP players will be mad at you. No matter what you do now, either PvE players are going to be mad at you or PvP players are going to be mad at you. You fucked up big time. And if you add a PvE way to earn the factions, PvP players are going to be mad. If you don't, or if you add that, PvP players are going to be mad. If you don't, PvE players are going to be mad. So no matter what you do, you can't win here. And this was all a band-aid fix for PvP being an issue. Oh my god. What the fuck, Rare? Rare, you are not listening to your community. Whoever the fuck at your company who thought they would be able to get the Labor of Love award, honestly, you should be fired. Everybody involved with that decision should be fired. Don't care if you're the CEO or whatever. If you're the CEO, you should resign. Because you clearly have no idea what the fuck game you're talking about. Like, there is several issues as to why your game will not get that award. Oh, and hey, guess what? I don't think you did get it, did you? I should have fucking never seen you win. I did not see you win. Didn't even see you nominated. So, yeah. May wanna rethink your decisions here, mate. They're kind of funny how they tried to get themselves nominated for the Labor of Love Award right after adding a shitty, half-assed PvP mode. Quite sus, ain't it? I'm honestly pretty sure they just half-assed this fucking mode just to try to win that nomination, honestly. Because this entire update does not seem well thought out. If it was well thought out, I think they'd see that Red Sea problem coming in from a mile away. Like, it's actually fucking hilarious how you did not see that coming. Did not already have a fix for that shit. And the matchmaking times are already so shit that you make fucking, yeah. Like there are, you had you had to make it so that um but like you're just showing that people, as soon as people got what they wanted, they didn't want to play the mode anymore. And you are also making the same factions come against each other. So if you have a Reaper against, let's you have 40 Reapers, but maybe about 10 Athena's players. You're making it so that the Reapers can face each other, which makes no fucking sense lore-wise, because you can also do the same thing for Athena's, which their whole shtick is we sail together, but now we're fighting each other. What the fuck? It's like an army shooting each other. It's like, let's say, like for example, I can take this as an example. This isn't by no means an offense or anything meant to these two countries, but let's say Ukraine fighting Russia, right? But the Ukrainians start fighting each other and shooting each other in the trenches instead of at the Russians. That's effectively how that PvP mode has now become. It's supposed to be a war between these two alliances. But due to people not spreading themselves accordingly, or low matchmaking on one, no low player numbers on one side, they're making it so that you have to fight each other now. Which makes no sense lore-wise. Just completely furthering that the fucking mode itself is garbage. At least in like Arena, you had a reason to be there and everything worked lore-wise. Everything made sense. And the cosmetics and everything were fairly more balanced. Like PvE players didn't feel like they were forced into Arena in order to unlock something. I'm not willing to sit there through 100 1v1s just to reach level 100. And then 2,000 to reach max. To reach max. I'm not... I don't have that willpower. Most PvE players don't have that. They're gonna quit the game. And the more PvE players leave the game, the less the game is going to thrive. Because the more toxic it's going to get, because the PvP players can't bully people again anymore. So they have to try to bully each other, in which that's when harassments and shit gets thrown around. It's already happening. To a quite massive degree. And there's no easy way to report people either in the game. Because of its nature. So if you don't catch a video of it, you can't report them. If you also catch a video of it, but you can't get the video to blow up or report it to you guys at all, which is pretty much not possible because there's no way to contact customer support. And contacting Rare's actual email is a fucking joke. So I don't know anymore, Rare. You are literally just shooting yourselves in the foot. Repeatedly. Like, you should be turned into a laughing stock of the gaming community. For your shitty, terrible decisions. I'm surprised you already aren't. I'm surprised you aren't already, honestly. Honestly, I don't get how the fuck this. Oh wait, no, I know how this game's still alive because people love their power fantasy. It's literally it. There's no other way around it. It's permanent. And due to the fact that you're clearly not willing to actually fix the main issue, which is PvE players being forced into a thing that they don't want to. And sure, I get it, it's a PvE game, but most of those styles of games have a option for you to opt out of the PvP. But you can't whatsoever. And people have a shoot first, ask questions later mentality in this game. Because why try to let somebody close when they're clearly just gonna fucking betray you? Why not just take that risk to the fight immediately? Instead of being caught with your pants down. And I'm sure I get that mentality. But that's a part of the issue. It's actually quite a big part of the issue. Because if you don't want to fight in the first place, you'll be pulled into a fight because they think you're gonna fight. Let's say you want to pull up to a world event just because you just want the completion. You don't want any of the loot. You'll even help put the loot on their boat. Or leave immediately as soon as it's over. And you get the completion. Without taking anything. You still won't be trusted. And like, I get it. But like the whole game is based on like having moments like that, but that just doesn't happen anymore. And most of the time that people have fun, especially lower skill players, are having fun doing PvP, is when they're literally bullying people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I've been a part of those, and I feel really fucking guilty. Because it's not fun doing it. Especially when you don't want to do it like that in the first place. I'd have fun dealing with a fair fight. But the thing is that PvP just ain't fair. At least when it comes to like Guilty Gear, for example. It's purely based on the skill. I don't have to aim anything specifically. I can get up in your face with my character and beat the shit out of you if I wanted to. That's how I usually play. But I can't do that when I'm forced into a fight with somebody I can't fight. It's like having to descend the ladder instead of climb the ladder. As a new player. That's not gonna work. It's honestly just not. Instead, it's actually a really shit way. And sure, in Guilty Gear Strive, you can go way up the ladder and instantly start trying your hand against pros who played for years. I've done that once. I found it I found it funny because like I had no chance of winning, but I still threw myself in it just for the lulz. But then I had the option to go back down and face people with my own skill level, or and such like that. But you don't have that kind of shit in Sea of Thieves. Because the servers don't work like that. Nor does the gameplay. Which I understand, but yeah, you've kind of fucked it over. But yeah, I give up on this argument for today. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.